Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Excellent. Hey, happy Tuesday night. Welcome to Wall-E, and welcome to the Varsity Cinema. My name's Dan Chibnall. I'm the STEM librarian over at Drake University, and I am a good friend of Ben Godar, who is the executive director of the Des Moines Film Society. And him and I helped put this together. It's through a national grant called Science on Screen. And Science on Screen basically gives out grants all across the country to show wonderful films and connect people with science in their communities. So thank you for connecting with science in your community. But I also love to do this because I teach courses on communicating science and science fiction. And so Ben and I have a really good relationship that way. Unfortunately, Ben had something come up at the last minute and he couldn't be here tonight, which is really saying something because he loves movies and he never misses them. But if you ever get a chance to meet him here at the Varsity, shake his hand, talk to him about movies. Science on Screen, what's it trying to do? Well, it's trying to connect people with science, and it's doing it by bringing you in touch with lively, notable experts. That's what the grant language actually says. And so tonight, not only are we going to learn about science and magic tricks and see Wall-E, but we also have a lively, notable expert here with us to take us through this entire process. So tonight, your lively, notable expert is not just a colleague of mine at Drake and is not just a professor of education and a lover of science, but he's also just one of the best darn teachers I've ever worked with in my life. He's thorough, he's gracious, he loves to teach people things. And so tonight, I'm proud to introduce the Baker Education Professor at Drake University, my colleague, my friend, Jerrid Kruse.
I appreciate that. Although I'm not sure I'm going to be able to live up to all of that, so. Lively, I don't know. Okay, so as Dan said, my name is Jerrid Kruse. So when we decided to show Wall-E, so my background is science education. This semester I'm actually teaching in Bright College, so I'm getting to teach some stuff that I wouldn't normally teach. And so when I was thinking about this talk, I was wondering, well, okay, so I could talk about technology, I could talk about science concept of evolution, we could talk about futurism, we could talk about environmentalism. So if you've seen the movie, like, these themes are all throughout. And so I decided to focus a little bit more on the technology side and then also the thinking side, how we think about things. And so you can see I've titled the talk, Can I Have Your Attention Please? Which for the students of mine that are in the audience, that's a yes/no question. And so it's a terrible question. And one thing I'm gonna because I'm a professor of education, like, I'm not going to just stand up here and lecture to you, so I'm going to need some audience participation. So my first question to you, if I can get this thing to work. Oh, come on. Oh, there. Now I hit it twice. Let's see if it. Okay. So why do you all think teachers ask us to pay attention? You hear that phrase uttered by teachers regularly. What do y'all think? You don't have to use the mic. You got something?
Well, I mean, they tell us it's to help us learn better.
They tell us that it's to help us learn better. All right, why else do you think teachers ask us to pay attention?
So the teacher doesn't feel like they're talking to a wall.
Okay.
Many of us are visual learners, not audio, so we need to focus too much.
Okay.
Because it's their job and they get paid free to do that.
All right. Yes. That might be the best answer of the night so far. So the assumption is that attention somehow helps us learn. And so I think one thing to be asking ourselves, oh, am I going to have to stand closer? There we go. What are some things that get in the way of our attention? So not necessarily just in school, but just in our lives. What are some things that you know distracts us?
Technology.
Okay. What else? There might be a story there. What does that mean, the night before? I didn't catch you said that.
You went out.
Okay. I see where you're going with that. It's a family film, though, sir.
Went to a late movie.
All right, there you go, yeah. So you're tired, you're feeling distracted. What else? What else might cause distraction in our world or in our lives?
So let's say you had a paper to write, but then your friends were like, hey, you should come to this movie. This really cool guy is going to give a talk.
We'll just call that better opportunities. How about that? Okay. So we know that we get distracted, and so one thing that I want to do next is, at least I think it's next, is I want to test our ability to pay attention. And so when I show you this, some of you may have seen this before, but if so, just, keep it to yourself for a second. So we're going to take a look at this film. Pay attention. All right, I'm hearing some shouts of jubilance, we'll say. So 16 passes was the correct answer. So if you got the correct answer, that just demonstrates your ability to pay attention. Let's see. There might be more to this story. How many of you saw the gorilla? Okay, I'm gonna guess a lot of you maybe have seen this before. This is not a new thing, but there's a little bit of a twist on this one. You probably saw it, but did you notice the curtain changing color or the player on the black team leaving the game? How many of you saw that? Those two things. Oh, none of you. All right, let's watch. So there's the gorilla. If you didn't see the gorilla, there he is, or she. And the black person already left the team, because you'll notice. Okay, so let me get back to my slides. So why do you think, we were concentrating, why did we miss things, even though we were paying attention?
We were only paying attention to the white players passing the ball, and not the gorilla or the curtain or the black player.
Okay. So what do you think is a take-home message here? Why is it problematic to pay too close attention sometimes? Yeah.
If you pay too much attention to one abstract thing, and you don't pay attention to anything else.
So,
And when that thing never changes and everything else does, you don't notice.
okay.
Because your eyes are only focused on that.
So in some ways, yeah, go ahead.
Because it's not good that the kindergartner next to you noticed the gorilla.
But you didn't. Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that where that was going. So sometimes when we pay attention to one thing, we're missing other things, right? And I think, in some ways that is a different definition of distraction. And so we'll come back to this idea in a little bit. But there's lots of things fighting for our attention. And so when we pay attention to one thing, we have to recognize that we might be missing other things. And so I think for me, it makes me think, what is it that I want to give my attention to? Because I might be missing other things, and so if I'm giving my attention to X, I might be missing Y. And which one do I value more? Okay, so we're going to go in a little bit different direction now. So let's see how I want to do this.